Welcome, everybody. My name is Colton from Zimtu Capital. Today, I'm here with President and CEO of Core Assets, Nick Rodway. Nick, how are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, no problem. How's everything with Core Assets right now? I know you were away last week. What were you doing up over there?
Yeah, so things are consistently busy, obviously leading up to a large season, and we are going at this quite aggressively for a first pass drilling program. A lot of people need to understand that 5,000 meters for a brand new project that has never been, there's no past production at this thing. There's no drill holes whatsoever at our Silver Line project. So it's pretty aggressive for a brand new company to be going at that. So basically the news that came out today was just, it was a bit of an update, and it just talked about how myself and the senior project geologist visited the actual Laverdeer project up in Atlin. That was about 2 weeks ago. We also attended a job fair in town. Right now, there's we don't have a huge team yet until we tap into this CRD system. But we are offering we offered a couple jobs to some local people there in the town of Atlin, and Atlin's a old mining town as it is. That's how it became from placer gold mining starting in the late 1800s.
Oh, wow.
So, people are familiar with mining in the area.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of excitement. People are excited to see what kind of results we can come up with down at the end of Atlin Lake.
So at the job fair, I guess, what was the sentiment towards Core Assets? Was there a lot of other companies there, or were you guys kind of one of the main companies, or?
Well, it was very small, to be honest with you. And the population at any given time in Atlin is very small. It's around 500 people type thing, even less. So there's not a whole lot of people there. But at that particular small conference, we can call it, or job fair, there was 4 companies, including us. So there's not a whole lot of activity in that area. Yeah. And we would be the standalone company that's going after a large porphyry CRD type system. Zinc, we have zinc, lead, silver, copper, and gold. It's a polymetallic thing, so it would be kind of the first of its kind that would be sizable, like what we have. Yeah,
for sure. So getting into the news release now, up until now, we've been talking a lot about the Silver Line property, but the news release that you came out with today was actually focused on the other area of the property, so the Laverdeer. Maybe you could talk about that. I know a lot of people were talking about the access to that property, and they maybe thought it was difficult. What can you say about that?
Yeah, so we always access the property with a helicopter, and it took 12 minutes each way to get there, which is very obviously still accessible. You also have the lake, which you can travel by boat. But the main thing about the last 2 weeks was I wanted to actually do it myself. I wanted to be able to live it. And until you live these things and actually do them yourself, you can't really put your 100% word behind it. So the aim was to get some snowmobiles, pack up our prospecting gear. We also had a drone with us to take some drone imagery, and we traveled down to the property to see, how efficient it was, how quick it was, and it turns out that the ice is solid the whole way down. There's between 12 and 24 inches of ice the whole way down, and it's just like a paved road basically to get down there. And you could probably get down there in 20 minutes if you wanted to, if you're going full speed, but taking your time with a sled behind you with your gear, 45 minutes, no problem, right to not just the beginning of the property, but right up the creek into these showings. And we were actually able to discover and observe some new copper showings, which was crazy, because when you're in a helicopter, you're obviously at a different angle of view, and you're not the one controlling the throttle. So if you pass over something quickly, you might not be able to communicate to the helicopter pilot that you want to go back there. So with the Skidoo, you are in control, and you can just zoom up to these outcrops, which are just completely, they were snow free. So it was crazy exciting, and the weather was just outstanding. And honestly, it was a really fun day. Not even though it was work, related, but it was very fun and it was a great opportunity to get down there. Perfect timing. And I'm very happy we did it, and it's really upped my confidence with regards to accessibility.
Yeah, and we'll show some images as well too, and then some of those videos because, like you said, it's beautiful up there, but that accessibility is just
it's crazy. Just it's just like a paved road going down there in the winter. So if we are successful now this year, potentially we will start hauling things down in the wintertime. Maybe a camp. We could build a camp in Atlin and bring it down, and it's not much cost to bring things down with a sled.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
compared to a helicopter.
Well, with the cost of fuel, it might be going up a little bit more. But so you mentioned that you saw some new mineralization. I think in some of the images in the news release, you can see it's actually kind of on the side there. So you're right, you wouldn't really see it from a helicopter probably, but up close, it's very, very visually, mineralized there. Maybe you can explain what those are or what you're seeing there.
Yeah, so I mean that area is the only area of the property so we can call that, say, 2% of the property that has been looked at historically. So that area has been it's called Hobo Creek area, and there was some actual historical mining done in the very late 1800s by two brothers that were there. So it just goes to show that, even over 100 years ago, there was a little bit of activity down there. So
how do you know that it's been explored way back then? Were they keeping stats on that or what?
There is some assessment reports on that, and also when you go there, there are 3 adits that are driven into the west side of the hill, and you can access 2 of those 3. And you can visually, there's some mine dump there. So mine dump is basically some of the material that wasn't taken out, and it's mineralized material, copper, gold, in what they call a skarn. And this is a magnetite skarn versus at the Grizzly area, Silver Lime Project, where we have that zinc, copper skarn, and limestone. This is a little bit different. So this is another porphyry story. And I call this, one of the 2 projects that we have right now within that large land package. But, it only covers about 2% of the whole land package. And there has been a few drill holes actually put into that back in the 70s. Only 5 drill holes, very shallow, true depth of max. There was one hole, the deepest hole was just about 200 meters into the side of the mountain. That's very shallow, obviously, when you're looking for a porphyry style mineralization, but very respective results came out of that. There was 178 meters there of about 0.3% copper, and gold wasn't assayed for. So,
what do you think the reason that the company who would have done that doesn't follow up on that?
Well, the reason, we do know the reason.
Okay.
The reason was that the area was proposed to be a park back in the late 70s, and it put a halt to all mineral exploration in the area for, I think it was 10 years. And then they ended up doing a prospectivity analysis, and they deemed that area to be one of the most prolific areas, most favorable for porphyry style mineralization in the Stikine terrain. And there is documentation on that and whatnot. So then they ended up changing the polygon for the Atlin Provincial Park to have that area exempt from being in the park. So, so then it came back then to being able to be staked. But by that time, those companies were all moved on, doing different things. But there were major companies in the area. Tech Kaminko was there, and they drilled some holes there even in the park before it became a park, and got some very high molybdenum numbers there, which again is a part of the porphyry style system. And then there was a handful of other smaller companies that were there that basically did some superficial prospecting and whatnot. And there was a couple of very small diameter drill holes, similar to the diameter of what we did with the backpack drill, except an actual mounted rig, not just a handheld machine. But a highlight from one of those results was 60 meters of 1.7% copper. Right, that's a really good intercept.
Very good,
that's from surface, and again, they did not assay for gold. When we did our sampling, we do assay for gold, and I got gold values anywhere from 0.1 grams per ton up to 5 grams per ton.
Wow.
So there is gold enriched in that skarn and even in the granodiorite.
Wow. A little bit of extra validation there then, I guess.
Oh, big time.
Yeah. So, all right. So, like I said, we've been talking about the Silver Lime property. Looks like there's a little bit more going on in the Laverdere property as well. So with spring coming, I'm assuming drills are going to turn soon. So where are we at in terms of that? Are we still on schedule?
Yeah, well, 100% on schedule. Everything is going, very smooth so far. But we are looking at our geophysical products right now, at mainly our depth slices at the Laverdere areas. We do have a fair bit of information in Laverdere. We did do an IP survey, induced polarization, back in 2019 as a part of our listing
Yeah.
company. So we do have that layer, and we do have the magnetics and EM now. So this new data is being layered right now with our samples, and we even have drill holes, obviously. So we're modeling that right now, and we will start there to drill. We'll probably do 3 or 4 holes there starting June 1st. And then while we're working there, we will have a team over at the Silver Lime and the 2021 discovery area doing better structural measurements and whatnot, because that area is a little bit higher elevation.
Right.
And then we'll be doing the same thing there. We'll be overlaying our geophysics, trying to make sense of it all. Because at the Grizzly part of the 2021 discovery zone, that area has a lot of superficial mineralization. Right.
Yeah.
So that puts us ahead of the game big time there.
Yeah.
And it's due to the glacial receding. And we also have some new imagery coming in as well, some satellite imagery, which will eliminate cloud cover and all these different things that have been obstructing our view. So that's going to be, again, a game changer, because you can sit at your desk, and if you've already been there, you can map these things from your desk because there's no vegetation cover. So that's a game changer. But what to look forward to, I guess, between now and mobilizing the drill, right, which would be June, is those geophysical products. But again, when you got it at surface, I mean, it's a game changer, right? Like, the geophysics is the geophysics, but until you drill a hole and you get some reference, a lot of that stuff doesn't mean anything. But when you have actual metal at surface, it's there, right?
Yeah.
You don't need geophysics to tell you that. So we're already excited.
Yeah.
Geophysics just kind of adds to our theories, right?
Yeah, well, everything seems to be confirming what you've been saying for a couple months now. So, sounds good. Is there anything else you wanted to leave on?
No, that's everything, I think. And I appreciate you having me on again. And hopefully you'll have me back, and we'll continue to, do at least monthly updates.
For sure, yeah.
Because we're going to be, again, doing the same thing I've been saying. 2.5 weeks is going to be a little bit of news here and there. And I think everything is fitting in line here. And we're, the whole team is just, very excited to get started, because it's a one-of-a-kind opportunity.
And I think everybody at Zimtu is the same mindset. We're really excited to see what happens this spring, and we'll keep everybody updated. Make sure Nick's on camera as much as possible with these updates, because I know everybody likes them. So thanks for coming, Nick, and we're excited for what's to come.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.